Here we go. All right. It does say we're live. So, welcome from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page, PayPal, and all that other stuff in the info section below. We got that out of the way. All right. I got two panelists at the moment. And the first one is the one and only from behind enemy lines, a New York outcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me, Rick. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for showing up, barbecue. Hope everybody's having a splendid day.
All right. Then my next one is Guns and Barbecue.
Hello.
Yeah. So, how did your... I saw your video on going out of battery. Have you spoken to Smith & Wesson about it or anything?
No, I'm going to give them a call on Monday. Looked at the photo. I took a screenshot of that last round where I had gotten real close to the camera and whatnot. Estimating exactly where it is. Probably like 3/16 of an inch out of battery.
Yeah. Well, when I tested mine, it wouldn't shoot it until it was in battery. You know? When I was doing the pencil thing. You know?
Yep. Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to be. But, when I had called Smith & Wesson, which I was meaning to try and get that phone call posted today, I wasn't able to. So really try and do it, get it posted for tomorrow. But the lady there flat out told me if the gun fires out of battery whatsoever, send it back. So.
Okay, do it. Send it back. All right. So I did introduce you, didn't I? Guns and Barbecue? Yeah, I did.
Yep.
Right. All right. Let's see who's in the chat so far. First in today was Shady Hill Homestead. Then Krabby Turtle. Kevin in New York. Raphael's here. Said they're dropping in slowly. I don't expect big crowds this time of year. It's damn middle of summer. It's hot as hell. People are out enjoying the sunshine. So who wants to be indoors? I do, actually, because as the older I get, the more I like AC. And as I said to somebody the other day, who was it? Somebody down at the diner. When I said the same thing. I like sitting in front of my AC. And they go, "You're getting lazy." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, in my old age, I'm becoming more energy efficient. I'm not wasting a lot of energy.
That's a new one.
Yeah, Yeah, I heard that somewhere myself. So it's not original. I stole it from somebody else, but I thought it was pretty funny myself. All right. So anyway, that's about. Anyway, let's see. What I want to know is everybody's talked about it, but now it's coming out. Was he using a? I heard the other day he was using a Hellcat, a shooter in Indiana. That.
Just when I'm starting to like that guy.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I've only heard it on one place that he was using a Hellcat.
I haven't heard, but personally,
I believe it was a 9mm. But I tell you, from what I can understand, though, they said 40 yards, but I believe he moved forward 10 yards before he shot. So, but even 30 yards and getting 8 out of 10 on target is pretty good.
So I don't care if it was a Sky or High Point. The guy did his job. The gun did its job. So
yeah.
Good on them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, the anti-gunners are going to. I know what the one state legislation gets back together because they're on their summer break right now. Some of them Democrats around Indianapolis and all that shit are going to try to put in a bill to get our because if somebody puts up a
Make it
sign,
illegal
no
to
guns
carry.
allowed, it's not legally binding. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill's going to show up trying to get that changed
I
where
don't
it
know,
is
Rick.
legal. What?
That's gonna be a tough sell for them. Sorry about the car going by. Because if you think about it, they're gonna have to answer this question. Because what they're gonna end up having to say is, "Oh yeah, this guy came in and did bad things," and somebody's gonna say, "Yeah, but this guy stopped him." And what you're wanting to do is remove that guy from the situation that stopped this. And they're gonna have to answer the question of, we want to limit your guns because this good guy did a good thing. But he shouldn't have been doing that because the mall had signs that said he wasn't supposed to. And at that
Screwed
point,
up, barbecue. You screwed up. You're thinking logically. They don't think logically.
I know.
So of course those pricks are going to throw 20 damn bills up trying to ban it because that's what they do.
But luckily,
hopefully somebody with sense speaks like barbecue and they get destroyed. But they're still going to try it.
But the problem is, the thing they're going to have to answer is, okay, so you want to control the guns and not save lives. But then they have to eat their words on their, their little motto, it just saves one life. And honestly, I think what's going to happen is they're just going to not do anything.
Oh, I mean, I agree. Plus, here in Indiana is a gun-friendly state, and the Republicans have a big majority, still. So it ain't going to go anywhere. But it ain't going to stop them from trying. You know what I'm saying? They're more likely to throw the bills in there. Doesn't mean they're going to go anywhere.
Do you guys know if these mass shooters in general? I know they say like the what is it? Depression drugs. Most of them are on antidepressants, stuff like that. But I'm curious. I think there's a missing link. Are they all in credit card debt as well?
Must be.
Are you saying I'm going to become a mass killer? I would just. You're trying to paint me into a corner.
I would just like to know if that's a common factor. That's all.
No, I don't think so because I'm not a mass shooter.
And a lot of them are pretty young. And even still, people want to get on the whole, they're on an antidepressants train. And while that could be a link, what you really have to look at is why were they on antidepressants? Because there's plenty of people on antidepressants that don't do any of these atrocities every day.
Absolutely.
But they might have been in debt too. That credit card debt, man. I'm telling you.
Rob, do we need to red flag you? You're starting to worry me.
No, I didn't say that, Kevin, in New York. You're trying to paint me in a bad light there. He's saying, did I say I liked AOC? No, I said I liked AC. Yeah. I don't know how people find her. Is she attractive?
I don't even know what she looks like, honestly. That's not a blind joke on that one.
I think she looks all right. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I haven't had cable in 4 years. So some of these politicians that are kind of new to the scene, like AOC, don't have a clue what the hell she looks like.
Yeah.
I think she's a fairly attractive lady. So, I mean, physically, not personality or anything like that. But obviously, most of the photos you see nowadays is her, anybody can look like shit if you're trying to make it. So,
true.
Awkward phrase or something in the middle of speaking a sentence. And, but all in all, I mean,
Oh, she's as dumb as a brick.
If she was on our side of things, I think a lot of these guys would have a poster up on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, She looks like a mule. Yeah, she does have. I mean, but then again, see the way the camera picks her up and her catch her at the right angle. Her front teeth.
You throw that in a
Like
nightie, some
that's the way you
stockings.
pick them up on the camera.
Be all right.
But as that guy said, where she thought it was disgusting, but before she liked it at first when he called that she had a nice booty or whatever it was. Anyway, we're getting people in here now. We got Tactical Fud and a couple others coming in.
Barbecue with all his background noise.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
So anyway, let's get on to my topics. We'll start. Oh, we got another panelist. Wow, been a while. Patriot in the Dark, how you doing?
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
It's good to see you. Been a long time.
I'm gonna question his blind card right now. I did a giveaway on my show the other night where you could win a book. Guess who had one? Yeah, Patriot.
Yep.
Patriot won it.
I accepted it just to break up Gary's winning streak.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, so what are you going to get a copy in Braille for him?
No, I sent him the good copy and say that jerk sent me a thing in the mail today with a bunch of stickers in it. By the way, thank you, Patriot. But then he printed it off in regular size font, so I still had to have somebody read it to me. So he didn't send that in Braille. I'm not sending him a book in Braille.
Yeah. Actually, though, all jokes aside, guys, can you read Braille?
A bit.
Okay. No. I was just curious. I'm being nosy than anything else. I was just curious if you taught yourself to do it, or do you go to some class and they teach you? I don't know.
Well, I learned the one that's important. It says "do not touch." That's the one that I learned first. So.
Okay.
Nice.
Horrible at Braille, but I'm a nipple expert.
That's what I was thinking too. Say, palm readings, forget palm readings. Come here.
Yeah. All right. I got two topics. Well, I got more than two, but I only listed two. Do you think the assault weapons ban is going to go anywhere? I mean, do you think it's even going to make it to the floor?
Oh, yeah, it's making it to the floor. It's already out of the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah. But right now, from what I hear, they ain't got the votes. Pelosi hasn't got the votes she needs right now. So it might not even get there. Because a lot of her moderate Democrats, who might be up for re-election come November, bad timing for them.
Yep. But do you think that they would purposely tank the election for the House just to hopefully have voters vote out the Democrats that voted the way they didn't want them to, in hopes that they get rid of them, and then that way later on they have the people in that they want, and they could try and push something like that through them?
Well,
but then again, that's to say that people pay attention to voting records, and we all know that's not the friggin' case.
Yeah. Well, if it's a Democrat in a moderate state who has a lot of Republicans or Democrat gun owners, right, and is afraid of losing their seat, that's why they wouldn't want it, because, I mean, it might not help the far left progressive Democrats, right? But I don't know, maybe they don't want to lose in the moderate state. They don't want to lose that House seat to a Republican. They want to try to keep the majority in the House. You know what I'm saying? If they vote for an assault weapons ban, they lose their seat in their state and it gets taken by a Republican. That's what I mean. It's all a political game. I don't know. You know, but it's just something I thought about. I'm still the one that scares me though more than that one is the other one that passed out of the committee along with it was the bill to rescind the I can't remember the name of the ones that protects the gun companies manufacturers from frivolous lawsuits. You know, that's the one that scares me more than anything. You know,
the Protection of Lawful Arms and Commerce Act.
Yeah, that's the one. Because gun manufacturers are not our friends per se. You know, they don't really back the Second Amendment 100%. But they don't. I would imagine if that passes, those gun companies would go to a different country to start making guns and shipping them in here. They wouldn't be made in the USA.
No. It won't matter either way. They can still get sued. Glock's getting sued in New York right now for the Buffalo killings. They're calling them a public nuisance, and the district court in New York there is allowing the case, and Glock's being sued. So it won't matter where they're made.
But hopefully, but where I'm going with this is they're, but you think about it. It doesn't matter they're suing Glock. Okay. If I own Glock, right, and they were suing me, right, and I live in Germany, isn't that where they come from originally? Whatever state they come from, whatever country they come from.
Enough.
What?
Yeah, Austria, close enough.
Austria, close enough. You know what I would say? Fuck you, America. Come and get me to get your money. You know what I'm saying?
It probably hurt them though. Don't they have a Glock factory here in the U.S. and a whole bunch of money involved?
Personally, myself, I would pull out. You know,
I don't know. What type of deals or treaties we have with Austria, but I could see that possibly being a problem because you're talking big money.
It's a humongous market, right?
But the U.S. is the market.
Now, well, if
there's
U.S.
a market.
was the market, right? Taurus would be bigger over here than anybody else, because around the world, Taurus is one hell of a humongous company.
Yeah, but if you look at sales from the U.S. and then the rest of the world, you can combine like any 5 countries. The U.S. just stomps it. The sales that the U.S. provides is the market. If manufacturers were to just not be able to sell in the U.S. all of a sudden, they would take a drastic hurting.
I'd agree to that. I think they get, especially Glock gets a lot of their sales out of the U.S.
Well, they're all going to be safe because they're all going to move to China. Be made in China and shipped back over here. Because China will be owning us right now.
You know what? If Norinco starts making a Glock, I'll buy one.
Who starts making it?
Norinco.
Wouldn't it be a national security risk if we didn't have any firearms manufacturers that were able to profitably produce in our country?
Well, that's the reason that they have PLACA in the first place. Is they're like, you guys are trying to sue the gun companies into oblivion, so they're like, we're going to protect them, and they came out with the PLACA, which they want to act like the firearms industry is the only industry that's protected with laws like this. That's not the case. So, which we all know this, but that was part of the reason that they came out with PLACA in the first place. Was back in the 80s and 90s, they were just trying to sue gun companies into oblivion.
Yeah, personally, but it's going to go to court if the case in New York, if they win, it's going to be whoever wins is going to be appealed by the other side. It's going to go all the way to it hits the Supreme Court. But the problem is, it's the amount of money it's costing them to do it. Now, the state doesn't matter because your tax dollars paying it, the bill, And the problem with Glock, if Glock is taken all the way, the price of your Glock is going to go up because Glock is not going to take it out of their profits. They're going to make the consumer pay the lawyer's bill. That's what I think anyway, and it's my show, so I can think that way. It has Rick sees.
No, they have insurance for a reason. The insurance is what really covers this stuff. But the problem is, in court, you can't say that the insurance is going to pay it, or else that invalidates the lawsuit and you start over. That's like when Jesse Ventura sued Chris Kyle's estate. Everybody was like, "Oh, how could he sue a widow and blah blah blah?" And he's so terrible. No, friggin' the insurance company for the publisher paid that. That wasn't none of that money came from Chris Kyle's widow. That was all from the friggin' insurance company.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand, and like the $73 million settlement on the Remington deal in Connecticut was paid by the insurance companies.
Yep.
But who ends up paying that? The consumer. That insurance company is going to put premiums up to other companies to recoup their money. It's just that's how the world works.
Well, that's if they even continue to insure firearms companies at that point, because they could just go, this is high risk. We're not even going to insure you guys. See you later.
They could very well have done that too. Or they could have put the premiums up so high because of the chance of being sued. I don't know. But the bottom line is it's always going to be passed on to consumer. Even if you're a Democrat and you like the idea of that the mega rich corporations should pay more tax than anybody else, right? Hell, they're going to pay it, but guess who ends up paying it? If a company works on, for argument's sake, I'm just saying this to keep it straight. It might be less, it might be more. Say a company works on a 30% profit. You're going to tax them more for that profit now drops down to 20%. They want 30. Their stockholders want 30. So that 10% difference is going to be put on the price of the merchandise to get it back up to 30. So we end up paying anyway. That's just putting it very basic.
I'm not happy about this whole thing with Glock and the fact that the state allowed, basically encourage people to sue gun manufacturers and all this crap. Personally, that's all a bunch of crap.
But look where
if that's the case, it should be the same with steak knives and everything else on the market. It's clearly biased or selective towards the firearm due to politics. So I honestly, it shouldn't stay. But in the end, we all know Glock's been double charging for their guns for a long time. So I'm not that upset at that it turned out to be Glock, although I'd prefer it was none, to be honest with you. But you want to charge up double the cost just because that's the thing to do. Karma.
Yeah. Now here's a question for you. Man, I'm spending too much time on this topic, but here's the question for you. What if how can I word it? I'm trying to think the best way of doing it. Okay. The state should be the laws, the state should have more say in what happens in their state. And but like this case against Glock, where it's going against the federal law, right? I mean, should the Justice Department, the federal Justice Department, come out and say you can't fucking do that? I don't know. Instead of making it go all the way to the Supreme Court, why can't the Justice Department say you're breaking the fucking law, asshole?
I wish people would save us all a lot of freaking money. Yeah. And these people can actually go to work and work on something that's actually justifiable.
Anyway, Patriot, what is your thoughts on this? I bet he's not even in the room. He's walked off. He just came in here just to make people think he was here.
Jesus, what a dick.
Yeah.
Alibi.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he comes back. All right. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But, we'll have to sit and see what's going to happen, basically. That's all we can do. We can say if this happens, that happens, but none of it matters until it actually does happen. Really, when you think about it. So, anyway, on to my next topic on my list was how did I word it? Cross-eye dominant. Is it a good or bad thing? Now,
bad.
Well, I mean, where I was going with this is I'm cross-eye dominant. I shoot. I go back to shooting left-handed, but I'm right-eye dominant. So when I was shooting with my right hand, it was working out pretty good. When I first started shooting, I would move my head over. I would sort of like move my head and my gun over a little bit for it all lined up. That's how I get around it. But I shoot a rifle using my left eye because I can't hold a rifle on my right shoulder or anything. And if I'm holding it on my left eye is the one that's looking through the scope. And I can shoot pretty accurately that way. So I don't know. But can you where I was going with this is, can you train? Could I train my left eye to become the dominant eye? Is it possible?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it's possible to adapt to it. I know, like military basic training, that's one of the first things you kind of go through is to figure that out. And anybody that was, crossed or whatever had to kind of deal with it. So maybe on your own, things like that, obviously you can try to compensate and whatnot. But I think you just have to adjust your technique to, line
that's
up.
What I do is I move my arm over and my head slightly to line it all
adjust your technique. There's different forms of that as well. So, so it may be different, as a general termination of cross-eye dominant. There's actually, I think, 3 different types of it. So, depending on what you have, you know what I mean? It could be a little different. In one case, like your eyes, they're close, but not 100%. There is a difference. In other cases, there's an extreme difference, and kind of in the middle. So along those lines, I think you can compensate for it and adjust. And it's also probably something that throws people off with shooting. So, whether you're shooting with both eyes open or one, depending on your situation, it might be better just to use one eye. now in like a defensive situation, that could be different. You got to also be aware of your surroundings, but the distance is a lot closer. You know what I mean? And standard situation, so it shouldn't affect that difficult. But at least this is my opinion, my knowledge of it. But I don't think you're going to retrain your eye, because it is what it is. Maybe with like LASIK or something like that, you might be able to improve it. But I don't think you are what you are, kind of. So, and I'm not sure if everybody's aware. Sorry, I don't mean to keep rambling on, but just to kind of define it, cross-eye dominance would be like a lefty, with a stronger right eye, or a righty with a stronger left eye. Right. It's more common for it to be like a lefty. It's typical if you're right-handed, you're probably going to be right-hand dominant. But there is exceptions to that. So, and there's also little tests you can do as well. If you're not sure, you can kind of like pick an object on the wall somewhere for you sighted people, and hold both hands out, put your index fingers together, and put that gutter, the channel gutter, like a sight right on whatever you're aiming at, with both eyes open, and then start closing one eye at a time. And the one that still has you on sight is your dominant eye. So there's a few different ways of doing it, but some people may not really understand what we meant by it, in a sense. So, and a lot of people have no clue. So if you are having trouble, and especially moving targets, that's a test you should do.
Well, I mean, I shoot with both eyes open, like most people should when they're firing, but I never realized until we done that little test, holding it up and looking through it, and I didn't realize I was right eye dominant. And basically what that means is, even though you've got both eyes open, is your right eye picks it up faster than your left does. But it's so you don't notice it per se. So that's what is your right eye picks it up faster. So when you're looking down the barrel at your sights, right? If you're looking through if you look both eyes open and you look with your left, you're going to miss your target, because your right eye is the one that's looking at the target correctly. I don't know if I explained it right, but yeah. I mean, a lot of times until I got the hang of it, I used to put because my glasses here, I would put a piece of paper over my glass, my lens, or I would stick it over my eye, then put my glasses on, for my left eye was blocked, because I can close my right eye, but I cannot close my left eye in a squint. I can squint with my right eye closed, but I can't do it with my left. So I have to either hold it down with my finger, which doesn't help me when I'm shooting left-handed. I can do it when I'm shooting right-handed, But so I put paper over my glasses or over my eye.
And there's a lot of bullseye shooters. Some of those competitions, the bullseye shooters, things like that.
Yeah.
If you look around online and stuff, you'll tend to find a lot of those guys wear, I don't know, I refer to them as horse shades. They kind of, like you're stating, would stop a side view, so you're not losing anything peripheral.
Yeah.
And even up to the point of closing your non-dominant eye, where it's like a dark shade you can't see through. So it looks kind of strange, but I couldn't handle a candle. I couldn't hold a candle to them, so they're doing something right.
Yeah. Patriot said, I don't think cross-eyed people should be discriminated against. Hey, what's this? Be right back. Got a delivery. Why haven't you got pizza delivered, Patriot? He's talking in the chat, but he won't talk in the room. I don't know what's wrong with the guy lately. We might have to call in help, find out what's wrong with you. See, look, he's still not talking, because he's stuffing his face with pizza now, more than likely. So, Oh, so I mean, it's hard for you to do the cross-eye dominant thing or whatever, what dominant eye, because since your eyesight's kind of on the guns and barbecue. But I mean, what did you do before you started having your eye issues, or you always had it? And has he left us too? Everybody's left me. Are you here? New York.
I'm here.
Everybody else has left us. They might be having a private conversation between them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's talking to us. You know?
Okay, what'd I miss?
How was the pizza?
No pizza.
You sure that wasn't what was delivered?
Nope, just a big box.
Yeah.
I blame it on Squib. He put out a video that said you should go through, see what your YouTube friends have on their affiliate links, and then you end up finding way too much stuff, and you get stuff.
Tactical fun. Do you wear the shades that clip onto your glasses? Yeah, I do actually. I do. Actually, these glasses came with clip-on sunglasses. You know, they're actually magnetic, so they just there's metal. They clip onto the screws, and my sunglasses. You know, that's what you're talking about. So, what's your take on the I can't remember what was our original topic about.
Cross-eye dominance was one.
Yeah, but the question
and the assault weapons ban.
Yes.
Whether you think it's going to go through or not.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go through, but I heard a little bit. I'm on my desktop, so I had my phone with me when I was out there. The Glock thing. I know it's probably not feasible, but I would look for some rich guy to put a case against, the vehicle there used in Wisconsin. I know they wouldn't do anything. I mean, I wouldn't go after like a knife or something like that. Stay away from anything that's considered arms. But I wonder what they would say. And then you say, hey, it's under the same precedence or whatever. But I know legally they probably have some kind of laws protecting those guys.
All right.
I like that.
Is that random enough for you?
Yeah.
Just bring all the other objects out there. Vehicles and knives. I mean, in that case, you could sue parents that kill their kids because that's actually, not a common thing, but it happens quite often.
Yeah, I would stay away from anything that's considered arms just because you don't want to screw with them companies. But, the big ones that are too big to fail or whatever, I know that there's protections and whatever. I mean, that's why you can't, unless there's a safety feature that goes wrong with it, but that should be across the board.
But, like the stuff that New York's doing and Delaware and all these things are passing new gun laws, which go against what, even if they said the hell with Heller, they're saying the hell with Bruin, and Bruin spells it out even better than Heller did, that they cannot do what they're doing.
Well, they can do it until somebody challenges it. I mean, that's kind of their thought process.
Yeah, my argument is, but shouldn't am I thinking wrong here? I know each state can do its own thing, but that is under the Constitution of the United States, which we're all meant to be following. The Supreme Court is the law of the land, right? So shouldn't the United States, not the New York state or the California state, but the United States Department of Justice? Shouldn't they be able to say, New York, you're fucking out of line. You cannot sue. You cannot do that law.
Yeah, but I don't think the Supreme Court ever speaks out just out. They have to see a case, and they have, because obviously they have to do all their work on it. I don't think, if somebody did something bad, but I still think it has to come up through a case. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play
No, I'm not either. But I mean, but to get it there, it's going to cost thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Yes, and that's the game plan. Anytime that they put out, a ruling, it's either, so finite. They have it focused so much, and it's not as vague, because they do have vague, whatever.
Yeah, but what
releases.
gets me is it's
So,
like
but that's why those states can go in. They'll change it a little bit. I mean, that's their game plan, and it always has been.
yeah.
And it's.
But it's, to me, is they're saying, like right now, especially New York and Delaware, have just done assault weapons bans, right? And stuff like that. They're actually saying, they're sort of like flipping off the Supreme Court, saying, fuck you. We don't give a shit what you say. We're going to do what we want to do.
Then somebody's got to actually bring up a case that says those are in common use, which
they are
evident. But that's.
Well, you think
unless
about
it
it.
states it somewhere. I don't think
Well,
that
I mean,
carries
there
any
is
weight.
20 to 40 million assault weapons in this country. What they class as assault weapons. We know it's a semi-automatic rifle, but use their term, assault weapons. There's 20 to 40 million of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2018, it was United States. I can't remember the name, but it was Cartano was the name of I believe the plaintiff, right? It was in Massachusetts. The Supreme Court said you cannot, because Massachusetts was banning stun guns, right? Mm-hmm. And the Supreme Court said you cannot ban stun guns because they're in common use. And at the time, in 2018, they only estimated there was 200,000 stun guns in the United States. And because 200,000 is common use. And we're talking 20 million assault rifles.
That was actually brought up in a case, is what I mean. Until somebody brings up that all these rifles, they don't have to pay attention to that, or they don't, whatever. If it's not saying it's right, it's just that's how it.
But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't have to be brought up in the case, should it? Can't they? I mean, what's his name? What's his name?
Better if the Supreme Court.
Who's the Justice of the United States? What's call it? Garland, and that his name, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General.
Yeah, Merrick Garland.
Can't he? I mean, theoretically, shouldn't he be able to say to New York, "You're breaking the law. You can't do that."
Yeah, except he wants gun control also, so he's not going to do that.
Or is that
if they could come up with a case?
Is that government taking too big of a step?
I think the best thing would be a case that came up, as far as the common use, and they put out a percentage of whatever. If it breaks that percentage point, then it's considered, and then that would cover anything. Because that's the point. If they do something that's focused on one single thing, it doesn't cover everything unless they word it that it covers everything. But common use, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they might have something.
That was worded in Heller, common use. It was worded in the last one, Bruin, in common use.
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm with Rick, kind of. I'm with Rick, kind of. I think this is, for one, it's a waste of our money. It's trampling people's rights. It's against the Constitution, and maybe that's debatable, but it's, not to me. But it's, but trampling people's rights. They're spending our money to do it. They're making rulings that are illegal under other situations. This should be like, what is it? conduct of character charge or something. Like we should, you shouldn't even be allowed to do that. We don't send you there to fuck around and play games with our money and piss us off. Like, that's not why we vote for people. Like, this shouldn't be a public, it's just the way it goes. We all get screwed. We got to deal with it. Our lives are affected, or,
so
all this shit because they want to play games. Like, if that's the case, drag their asses out. Let's play games. Let's be fair about shit. But no. This is ridiculous.
You gave New York State permission to use your tax dollars to fight their court cases.
I didn't give them permission for shit.
But that's what
I was born, and then I ended up being here, and then I was given a Social Security card. Nobody asked me about it. Nobody said, "Am I volunteering to pay for all this debt that was placed upon me?" Nobody said that shit. Nobody told me I had to give away my rights to get a license. I just did what was normal. Well, why is that normal? Why do I give away rights for you to fuck with me? It makes no sense. Like, the system screwed up, man. It's because it's been normal for so damn long. You say something different, and you're a lunatic. You're one of those black law guys. You're this. No, just when did you willingly make a freaking choice in any of this shit with your tax money? I'm all for government. I just don't want to get ripped off. I don't want to pay for junkies. I don't want to pay for people that are too fucking lazy to get off their ass. Where's the representation for my dollar? Why are all the roads shit? All the bridges, but we're sending money everywhere else. We're helping out gay people in Saudi Arabia and shit. Like, they're not just going to get thrown off a fucking roof. Excuse me, but all this stuff is stupid, man. We're getting robbed. And then we got to go spend double dip to try to fight it so they can bulldoze us with our money and bullshit. Like, we got problems, man. I'm with Rick on that. I don't think it should be. I know that's the way the game is, but it's only going to stay that way if we continue to play it.
I agree with you. It's all wrong. So, anyway, let's move on. You can go. Here's another one. Here's another topic. I mean, and it really only affects me and you here, New York Outcast. I personally myself, it's to do with flashlights on firearms. Well, people, how people stick a laser or a flashlight on the end of their, mainly flashlight on the end of their firearm.
Overrated.
Personally myself, I don't think it should be. I mean, to me, it's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Putting a flashlight on the end of my firearm.
I say get the brightest thing you can possibly have if you're a blind guy. I would.
Yeah,
I know. I would put the I'd mount a sunlight on the front of my thing if I could.
So you hear a bump in the night. Besides, I mean, if you're brave enough to get up, grab hold of your firearm, creep down the stairs, turn on you got your flashlight on, where you can see who it is and see where you're going. Right? Now here's my problem. Here's my problem with it. You're going against what you've been taught. You shouldn't be pointing a firearm at anything you don't intend to shoot. And if you're walking down the hallway with your flashlight, it was right at the end of your barrel, and you come around the corner into the kitchen, you flash your light, and it happens to be your daughter sneaking in because she went out through her bedroom window, right? And she's sneaking back in at 2:00 in the morning. Your barrel is aiming right at her. Do you intend to shoot her?
But you don't need to do direct lighting on an object to tell what's there.
Or you sneak around the corner and it's two guys that just broke into your house and they shoot at your light. And guess what's at the end of the light? You are.
That's a myth. That's about as dumb as the argument of, oh, if you open carry, you'll be the first deck. If you're actually aiming that light at them and they're in a dark room, they are blinded.
I don't know, man.
I think you should try that if you're sighted. Have somebody sitting in a dark room. You walk in there with no lights, and they turn the light on, aiming it at you. If you got any light, because I don't. I mean, it doesn't have to be mounted. I mean, carrying it. I carry a flashlight, but
I carry a flashlight with me.
But if you're standing in somewhere dark and somebody turns a bright light on, I don't know.
Well, see, personally,
there's a purpose for them either way. But honestly, I'm a big fan of light discipline. So I wouldn't be projecting myself anywhere. I don't care if you're strobing, flashing, moving around. You can be seen from a mile away. So I'm not a light fan. I would more likely use a light as a decoy, if anything else, because honestly, you don't know how many are there. So if you are addressing that bump in the night, the last thing you want to do is make yourself known when two more are on the other side of the house. And I can't speak for you guys, but I'm not a soft target. Most people that know me know that. So if they're breaking in my house, they're expecting it to be a fight. So it's not, they're probably coming to kill me is what I would suspect. You know what I mean? Seriously, because I'll fight for $20. I'm not like some people and, whatever. It's not worth. It's principle to me. I have fought for $20. You're not robbing me.
He'll fight for 20 cents, people. Don't let
You're
him.
Damn right. It's principle. Shit, I'll fight for my friend's shit if it comes down to it. But to me, it's all principle. But I think there's time and place for both of it. If you were, doing a raid or something, I think what Patriot's saying is great. Overwhelming force, blind them, shock and awe. That's the way it's done. But bumping the night, I'm the only protector. I damn sure am not going to advertise where the hell I am. I know my house. I know my surroundings. Why give them any advantage, any at all? But that's just my thinking. Yeah. So I'm not against people that do. Everybody's got different systems. So this is one of them things where people harm on each other. Do what works for you. It's your ass on the line.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get some more opinions here or ideas, but got another panelist joining us. We've got Squibload. How you doing, Squib?
I'm fine. Looks like I jumped in at a good time.
Yeah, we're talking about flashlights on the end of your firearm. I think it's a stupid idea. I mean, just take the flashlight. I mean, you got a flashlight and you're pointing it at somebody. I mean, basically, you're pointing your firearm at somebody. I thought you're not meant to point your firearm at anybody you don't intend to shoot.
All right. So if you're thinking that somebody's broken into your residence, then what's the big deal about having your muzzle downrange? Okay.
It's as I said, you got your flashlight. You heard a bump in the night. You're creeping downstairs. You swing around into the kitchen with your light, right? Ready, and your gun is pointing at the person standing at the back door, and it happens to be your daughter who snuck back in the house after she snuck out the bedroom window, and your muzzle was pointing at her.
Oh,
are you going to shoot her?
No, I can address that. Okay, if your daughter knows that you're serious about that sort of shit, she's not going to sneak out in the middle of the night because dad might shoot her when she comes back home. There you go. You solved two problems in one thing.
I can account for that being realistic. So, and your lady won't sneak to get a bathroom. She'll just get up and go because she knows that quiet shit is what'll get a gun pointed at her.
I will tell you,
you should know your house too.
So some people will push that. My dad has a habit of showing up at 2 a.m. unannounced. That's what he does. Well, one day he decided to show up at the farm 2 a.m. unannounced. He made it halfway down the hallway before he had a Colt revolver in his face. And my grandfather at least had the common courtesy to call out his name and say, "Is that you?" before he pulled the trigger. No flashlight, no nothing like that. It's kind of one of those things like when we were in the military, we had the challenge. You would ask a question, they'd have to respond back. And if the answer wasn't right, you just blast them. And that's that. That's what you do in the dark or sentry duty or that sort of thing. Now, I mean, under certain circumstances, I suppose that you could exercise restraint, but if you're in a combat zone or whatever, if you're in your house and you know everybody's supposed to be sleeping and you hear a bump in the night and the lights are out, that's not your kid going to the bathroom or getting a midnight snack. That's somebody in your house. If your kid is stupid enough to sneak out in the middle of the night and come in, or your adult son is dumb enough to come into your house that's 45 minutes away from the nearest law enforcement, and you keep a loaded gun by the bed and come in at 2 a.m. unannounced, that's a risk you take. I'm just not. First off, despite the fact what my dad does, I was raised that you don't show up unannounced.
Yeah, well, me too. But where I'm going with this is the flashlight and pointing a barrel at somebody. All right, so you're sneaking down the hallway, you swing around into the kitchen, and it's 2 people who busted into your house and they're both armed. They're going to shoot right at that light that's shining at them.
Yeah, they might. Yep, they might.
And you are at the end of that light because your gun's sticking out in front of you because you're holding it with 2 hands.
Well, I mean, for those who hold like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's the big deal with flagging somebody in that situation? It's not like you're at a public range or this and that. There's a possible threat. You know what I mean? If it turns out to be drunk Uncle Bobby, well, his ass will know better next time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Don't break into a guy's house in the middle of the night if you don't want a gun pointed at you, because I'm not an easy target. You know what I mean? Like, anybody that knows you should kind of know that. And honestly, I can't speak for you guys, but I've had a gun on me probably hundreds of times, literally hundreds. So I could think of probably 20, 30 just from the police alone. Just making sure everything's cool for a minute, not stating, I thought I was going to die, but just because somebody puts a gun on, I mean, it's not the end, it's what they do. It's that, how many times have you been walking across the street and somebody had a car pointed at you? Doesn't mean they're actually going to run your ass over. I mean, people got to lighten up a little. Not saying it's fun, it's a good practice, but in that situation, I wouldn't be surprised, And give an example, I hung out at a party, went back with this girl to her place, or roommates, whatever. We were both hammered. And no, we weren't driving. In the front of this building is 3 stories, and the back is 2. We're in the back, can't get in, she doesn't know where her key is, blah, 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 blah. I end up, I'm sure it's probably not statute of limitations. I ended up getting into the wrong damn apartment. Thankfully, I wasn't shot. But if somebody approached me with a gun, it's to be deserved, honest to God. So, I went and opened the back door, and she was up on the deck, and I said, oh, shit. So I very carefully unbroke in really quickly and got into the right place. So, but that's a chance I took, so thank God. If somebody attacked me, they were justified. You know what I mean? So, you think before you do shit sometimes, even if it involves a female and a good night.
I understand what you're saying, but let's go back to the original question. So, do you have a flashlight on your firearm?
Me, personally?
Yeah.
I do have one that sits next to, actually, I got 3 flashlights next to my bed. One's a gun mounted. Yeah.
You have it mounted.
But again, that doesn't mean I'm going to use it for that purpose. So honestly, it'd be more of a decoy, because I'm curious how many. It's rare around here that only one person breaks in. Like, criminals don't have the balls anymore. I don't know what the deal is, but so I'd be expecting it to be more than one person. So I'm not intending on using a light. Maybe after I feel the situation's in control to kind of keep an eye on things. Maybe, I don't know, but I can't speak for really what is. But typically, I'm not going to start with a light, but I'll probably have one with me.
I carry a flashlight everywhere I go in my pocket. Now, if I'm getting out of bed in the middle of the night, I know where my flashlight is. I can grab it, but I don't have one mounted on my firearm. Because first off, I don't want to be shot at in the dark. And if I do turn my flashlight on, I practice down at the range. I don't know, practice, maybe you should do more training, but I practice to shoot one-handed and hit the target. So I'll hold my flashlight in one hand like on the side of my body or whatever, and I shoot with the other hand. So if they shoot at the light, they're either just going to hit my arm or miss me entirely.
So I remember learning to clear buildings in the military, and we were taught to hold the flashlight across at an angle. If they're going to shoot at the light, it could hit you in the hand, but it could go past you or whatnot. There's no guarantee that you're not. They could try to go for the light and miss and hit you. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying, oh, well, because I learned it in the military, everybody's got to do it. I don't care. Use a light. Don't use a light. Hold it away from your body or hold it across so that it presents that you're facing them when you're really at an angle to them, or don't. Put a light on your gun. Don't put a light on your gun. If my grandpa had a light on the gun, he wouldn't have had to ask my dad the challenge question to see if it was my dad, right? But then again, if he had the light, would he just be advertising his position? I think it's different for different people. And I think that whether you use it or you don't use it, as long as that option is there for each one of us to make that decision, that's all that really matters. When some sort of crime happens or some good guy with a gun does something that somebody doesn't like and they go, yeah, these weapon-mounted lights make them more deadly, and then they outlaw that, or you have to have a tax stamp for every light, that's where it's going to get crazy and stupid. But just because I don't use one or I use one in a different manner than you would doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, or you're wrong and I'm right, or we're both wrong, or whatever it is. This is just another one of those personal preferences. Rick, if you think it's stupid or you think you're going to get shot, don't use a light. And if somebody else says, lights are overrated, I mean, they're blind. But it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. The light manufacturers want you to buy as many as possible, though.
Yeah, but I mean, really, my original question or thing was when you're using your light that's mounted to your handgun, and you point it at somebody, and I said, you come around the corner and it's your daughter coming in the back door, you're actually pointing your firearm. You know what I'm saying? We're taught not to point our gun at somebody.
But going back to what Outcast said, in a situation like that, all bets are off. This isn't at the range. You're not training with that, what's his face with the tight T-shirt, whose instructor said safety's for pussies. Okay, you're not doing that. This is I'm using the gun. The whole keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. If I'm going downstairs to a dark house because I heard a bump in the night and my finger's on the trigger, that's because I'm ready to shoot. So whether it's your dog, your daughter, or what was it, drunken Uncle Bob or whatever, if Guns and Barbecue can't read the sign in front of my house and he comes in my house instead of his, and he's mad that I pointed a loaded gun at him, it's like, dude, you're in the wrong house.
Well, yeah. I don't care if you're in the right house. If I tell friends and family all the time, if you come here after certain hours, which I've really narrowed it down to, if you've got to drive with your headlights on legally, then you should probably let me know that you're coming over, or else you might be greeted with a firearm.
That's a great way to put it, actually. That's a really good common sense way to put it, because now you reminded me of a situation where something had happened. It was a couple minutes after 10 o'clock at night, and one of the kids dropped something or something. I don't know. Just it made a bunch of noise, and we were in the second story apartment. And it's just a few minutes after 10. We're all in bed, and somebody's beating on our door. And I grabbed my handgun and I went to the door. And I mean, I've just got shorts on and a gun, and I got the gun behind my back. And I opened the door slightly because there's no peephole, no little glass in there for me to see. And it's a downstairs neighbor, and he starts cussing me out and all this other stuff. And I go, hey, dude, one of the kids just knocked over something and it fell on the floor. He goes, well, we're trying to sleep down there, blah, blah. I said, you see me, I ain't even got a shirt on. What do you think we're trying to do? Right. The next morning he comes up and knocks on the door. This time he doesn't beat on the door. He knocks on the door, and it's this decent hour. And he says, look, man, I want to apologize. I got kids too. And I didn't realize that, it woke me up and I was mad and all that. I said, well, good thing it was you and not somebody else. And he said, why is that? I said, because I had a 9mm behind my back, and it was, I had one in the chamber, and I didn't know who was beating on my door. And, you might go, it's 10 minutes after 10, 5 minutes after 10. That's not a bad time. In that neighborhood, it really isn't a bad time. But like Barbecue said, if you got to have your headlights on, what are you doing coming over at this hour of the night? Well, he turned white as a sheet, and he said, wow, I didn't realize. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't fuck around. But there's a certain amount of restraint. Have the gun at the low ready. It takes you a split second to bring it up into, your muzzle's still down range, and yeah, you could hit their feet, it could ricochet, or you could miss and hit them. But if you're that concerned that it's your, which by the way, this is a parenting issue. If your sister, if your daughter is the one sneaking into the house in the middle of the night, this is a parenting issue, not a firearm safety issue.
I totally agree.
Good point. Yes,
Yep.
Yes, New York. You don't want to talk.
All right, yeah, I just want to throw out a couple things. Statistically, most home invasions happen in the day. So don't be fooled with this night stuff. In the day, most people are working, witnesses aren't around. People are known to come up and, clean your carpets, things like this. So you can get robbed with your neighbors watching and never even know. And it happens all the time. So, in some cases, people dress like police. The guy next door's shady activity. Bunch of unmarked cars show up, people show up, this and that. You don't want your name in it. Next thing you know, they're robbing the people next door. It actually happens. And they don't necessarily just because they're a drug dealer, but it gives that impression. Lots of things. Don't fall for the scams. But at night like that, when you go to your door with no peephole, that's suicidal, bro. Like, in my opinion, if you got a possible threat at your door, don't open that damn door. Get visual confirmation before you open that, whether that's a window, whether you come around the side door, because you don't want to be in a deadly funnel if it is a problem at your door. That's the worst possible place.
This just comes down to the first rule of a gunfight. Don't be there. This comes down to the first rule of home defense. Don't live in a shitty neighborhood where you have to be worried about that bullshit.
Junkies travel, man. Junkies travel.
Yeah, anymore. I don't know if I understand what you're saying there, Squib. I don't know if it applies as much anymore. I've seen sketchy shit lately.
I'm not saying that anything can't happen anywhere at any time, but you live a certain place for a certain reason. I went back to the old neighborhood last weekend to go visit family, and there at the when I come down the expressway, the ramp, and I get down to one of the main streets, there's a homeless couple there with their crap piled up and 2 signs and stuff. And I go, really? And then on the way out, I took another entrance ramp to get onto the expressway about 1.5 miles away. And there was a homeless person there. When I lived there as a teenager and a young adult, that shit was not tolerated there. The neighborhood's gone downhill. Time to move. I don't care how close you are to the boat ramp. There are boat ramps other places. Time to move. That sort of crap isn't tolerated where I live, and I just live in a middle class, blue collar neighborhood. I mean, yeah, there's there's some money here, but really the wealthy neighborhoods one over. They definitely won't tolerate that crap. So if that's what's normal in your neighborhood and you're okay with it, you're okay with it. Kind of like if you want to have a flashlight on your gun or not. I guess that's a personal choice. I won't live like that. I'll move first.
Yeah, me too, actually. I like living out here. I mean, I live out here in the country. On the street I live on, there's about 10 houses. They're spread out, except for my next door neighbor because we're attached. But every other house, they're single homes. There's about 10 of them, and a big farm at the very end. It's a dead end road. There's a big farm at the end of the road. But I choose to live here.
But now, even in the country, this can happen because if we go back to the farm, all right, the sheriff comes knocking on the door. My grandpa answers, and he's like, whatever you do, don't leave your house until we come by and tell you it's okay to leave your house. And he said, what's going on? He says, we're doing a raid on the meth house. It's at Double Wide down at the end of the hill. I'm like, what? Well, I guess what had happened was there was these guys were running a meth lab, and the sheriff came in there and they surrounded the place, and these guys somehow snuck out the back, and they're in the woods. They could be on our property, they could be on the neighbor's property, or they could be in the state park that's in the property adjoining all that. They didn't know where they were, and they were looking all over for these guys. Now, this is out in the country. The sheriff is never out there. Nobody really knew that was a meth lab. I mean, this is a place where you just wouldn't expect that. And the thing is, even though the sheriff was out there, they're looking all over in the woods for these guys. There ain't enough manpower to search everywhere. I'm surprised they didn't start deputizing rednecks and saying, would you go out there and help us look for these guys? The thing is, though, everybody there has guns, lots of them loaded all over the house at any given time. These guys are better off turning themselves into the sheriff than having to face my grandpa or my uncle or the cousin across the river or whoever, because they're going to shoot first and ask questions later. So there is something to be said about living out in the country. Something could happen out there, but those guys are pretty well equipped to deal with it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I keep. I mean, I've had neighbors knock on my door at night, and as you said, Squib, I normally have my gun hidden behind my back when I open the door, But luckily my back door, I can see out of it because it got glass. And my front door, there's a window right next to it. So I look out of it, see who it is. But you come knocking on my door at night, I got a gun in my hand.
Does anybody know if there are training courses specifically built around clearing your house at night with a weapons light or with a flashlight?
Yeah, there's low light trainings and whatnot.
All right, because all I ever had was just clearing buildings and clearing rooms in the military, and some things are the same, some things are different. You can apply some of that to your house or a commercial building, because I've done it.
They do have a course here. I believe it's the NRA puts the home defense. It's actually a class, so it's separate from your concealed carry and stuff like that. When I was actually first started looking, I know they have it. Now, I don't know if, where, you got to search it out or whatever, but it's home defense. And they actually will have an instructor come to your house and go through and, give you points. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, if you're totally new, that is something.
Do you got to become a member and take 5 other classes first?
Nope. You just got to say, Squib.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think it does that kind of training too. United States Concealed Carry Association.
Yeah, but after you tell them that you know me,
they charge more.
Well, that's just it. Unless you put on your credit card, you don't get the discount.
Yeah,
you'll get squibbed. You'll get squibbed if you don't use plastic.
I'm a big fan of USCCA, but I do not count a video or DVD as being training. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
It gives you an idea of stuff, but that you're not getting corrected. You're not, if you're not getting yelled at some point, it ain't real training. I'm sorry, because none of us do shit perfect.
They have people who are that hold classes as well.
Yeah, I think that when I looked for that class, that was actually under the MCRGO website, the Find an Instructor. And it lists, obviously, all the instructors that are through them. It might be on their website is where I found it.
Yeah. And I think where I'm going now, I think the United States does basically almost the same thing. They got something on their site. You can find the class you're looking for.
Now, I would say with your remark, Outcast, seeing the video, maybe if you saw the video and then you did some of the stuff in the video for practice, then that could be training. I mean, there's different tactics you can watch a video on and go, okay, I can do that. And then you clear your house, or you go to the range and you try to do that some sort of drill or something else like that, or you integrate that into your regular practice more so than training. That video could be, or even a book or something, could be the base for the training or practice you develop.
Hey,
I can give you that. I can agree with that, but
I watched the
knowledge
video
with action. You know what I mean? And it's hard to criticize yourself sometimes. So you see it in cases where people just can't hit a man-sized target, and they want to blame the gun, they want to blame this or blame that, or, you know what I mean? Some people don't want to admit they suck. I'm sorry, but it's a reality. You know what I mean? We all wish we were better than we are in some cases. So for some things, and especially men, it's the same thing with a guy taking a girl to a gun store. Wants to mansplain everything and all this shit. Every guy there has got the perfect gun for you and all this shit. We all know every goddamn thing, and it's part of our downfall. That's where an instructor or somebody else that can give you positive criticism or literally a kick in the ass because you keep doing the same stupid shit.
See, I think with
sometimes it's beneficial.
I think with watching those videos, as far as taking that as training, it might just bring up something that you'd never considered, and you didn't know that hey man, I should check into this. As far as clearing rooms like that, some people watch stuff on TV or something and have no idea that there's a little bit more to it than just, kicking a door, and I don't know, it might spur up looking for training.
Yeah. I agree. It's good. It's a good thing and shouldn't be looked down upon, but I just cringe when I hear somebody say, "Oh, I watched the video, so I'm an expert. I'm good to go." Like, that's ridiculous. Hey, that's like saying you watched Rambo. So
I watched the video how to take apart my my Winchester lever action because I had no clue when I got it. I watched the video to how to do it, and now I'm trained.
Were you confident enough to bet your life
to take it apart?
To do it?
Yeah, okay, you self-trained. The video was the instruction, but you self-trained. There are some people that can't self-teach, and there's other people that can. So some people they're good at reading the instructions and doing what some people want to watch somebody else do it and then they mimic them. That's self-training. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that was done by video.
Now, if you self-train though, that's similar to critical thinking. So be careful because that's a rare thing today. Most people don't want to use critical thinking.
True. Oh, anyway, anything else, guys, you want to go over?
Yeah, they got a button on here to raise your hand, but they don't have a button for clapping.
No, they don't.
There is a clap emoji in there you can use. I don't know what it does, but it is there.
Is there one for the middle finger?
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
And I even got sounds on my end.
But do you have one with the bird? No middle finger?
I don't know. Where are you finding these at? I'm not even looking. Thumbs up?
Yeah, I'm telling people to thumb up the video. You got to build your analytics.
Yeah, fuck my analytics. I'm the only YouTube channel that loses people.
Which one was Frogs and Crickets? Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody needs to use that one on like Friday Night Strike or Hit or Miss Tuesday nights 9 o'clock.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to start winding it up because it's 4:17. Oh, my quiz for next week for the swag pack. What was my question? Oh, yeah, it was an easy one. I wanted to know who is known, how can you word it, as being in the most Western movies. Who's known for that? I used a different word.
Some old white guy. Jeez, all your damn questions.
And also, I wanted to know when he mustered out of the military, what was his rank as well? It was a double-part question.
I stepped away to get another bourbon. What was the question?
Who is known to have made the most Western movies? And what was his rank when he mustered out of the Army?
Seriously, that one's way too easy.
Well, there you go. I said it was an easy one. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. When I done it, was it last week? I set the question. I forgot to do it, so I looked something up real quick before the show started, before I had a question for you guys. So I gave you an easy one. So there you go. All right, let's do this as it's in order on my...
At least the question wasn't about some obscure British sitcom from the 50s.
Oh, that's not a bad idea to do a question on that.
Oh, yeah, speaking of British, did you see Travis's video on the beans?
Yes, I commented on it.
All right. So you really eat that stuff?
Oh, yeah. But as I told him...
He'll watch that, but he won't watch his cover shows.
but as I told him, when I make it, the way I was taught to make it and eat it was the toast. We lightly butter it, then put the beans on. That's the only difference, And I agreed. And he mentioned Cadbury's chocolate in there too. He said he's got to, you can't beat. People tell you that Swiss chocolate's the best in the world. No, it's not. Cadbury's chocolate made in England. Not the Cadbury's chocolate that's made here in the U.S. Cadbury's chocolate that's made in the U.K. is some of the best chocolate you've ever eaten. But anyway,
it's the one laid by the rabbit, right?
I mean, that's why I'm so fat.
It's not laying it.
Oh, okay.
Cadbury's fruit and nut.
Yeah.
Milk chocolate. Oh,
It's
man.
I used to get those as a kid. My parents were.
Oh, man. I'll take that Swiss mix grill over the Cadbury bunny any day of the week.
Did Rick just say he liked Cam's free nut?
Do what?
I thought you said something about like a Cam's free nut.
No, I said fruit and nut. Cadbury's fruit and nut chocolate bar.
Oh, okay.
You can't beat it. So, all right. New York Outcast, you got any shout outs or plugs?
Sure. I'd just like to plug everybody on the channel in one way or another. All you guys out there, check each other out, obviously. I hope you're eating salad, doing something healthy, maybe busting out a bicycle or taking a walk, whatever your abilities allow, but do something, including eating a salad at some point. I've heard that Hawaii volcano water is a little expensive and might drive you mad, make you a mission tonight, so you might want to stay away from that. Other than that, I guess I just wish everybody a good weekend. I think G23 show's canceled, I heard from Caliber Corner this morning, so just keep an eye out there. You never know what could pop up. And now I'm rambling, but R&L displays, eat a salad, use cash. Catch you next time.
All right. What's that? What was that about a Hawaiian water?
Yeah, these rich guys, they get special jets to go get them water from Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
That's probably something like turtle piss just filtered through some charcoal, but either way, they got a nice bottle.
Hey, I buy my bottled water. I buy it for under $4 for a 24 pack down at the dollar store.
Well, I get whole gallons for like $1.09.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, I think it's $3 and so many cents for a pack of 24 down at the dollar store. Then of course my box of flavor, and it used to cost me $1, are now $1.25. That pisses me off no end. Anyway, and it's all Biden's fault. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's his fault.
And those 1%ers like Squib.
All right. Patriot, you got any shout outs or plugs?
No, thanks for having a show. Thanks for letting me in.
You're very quiet today.
It's been a long day.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. We've missed you.
I'm taking it easy. Doing renovations.
You're taking it easy. Yeah, go on.
I was just I've been doing construction and
okay,
making things nice. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
yeah,
still looks the same to me. But
yeah. While I'm thinking about it, before going to the next person, if everything goes according to plan, this coming Wednesday will be my last one. I won't be here. The following Wednesday, I should be back. Because I think next Wednesday is the last time I got to help. I tell you, this past Wednesday, it was a heat index of 108. I was down there. I went down there early in the morning, done what I had to do. I come home and sat my ass in front of my AC and didn't move for the rest of the day. It nearly killed me. Because I'm so fat and out of shape. So.
This means you got to do it more, man.
Yeah.
Got to do it more.
Yeah. But
Bigfoot
anyway,
ain't going to catch himself.
So I won't be here this coming Wednesday, but it should be the last one. I should be back after that. So just wanted to let people know in case they wonder where I was at. All right, Squib, you got anything?
Yeah, man, copper's expensive. I'm looking at these American-made copper mugs. Damn. I don't know. Always working on stuff and trying to weasel onto these live shows, time permitting. I don't even know what I was saying. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. You're looking for a copper mug?
Yeah.
Why?
Rich guys.
P11. He's talking to me about this thing called a Moscow Mule. So,
okay.
Got to have a real copper mug for it. Buy American. It's like R&L Displays. They're made here in America. Got to buy American, man.
Yeah. You shipping Hawaiian water?
It's American water. I mean, Hawaii is part of America.
Yes, it is.
I had some Hawaiian coffee, which, if you think about it, is the only coffee made in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
What other country is an American territory where they grow coffee beans?
California?
They
don't grow coffee beans in California?
The climate isn't right for that.
Hawaii's just got the right climate, right?
They got them Kona beans, man.
Yeah. So there you go. Never thought of that. See, you're full of some information there.
Yeah, I'm full of something.
All right, Guns and Barbecue. You got any shout outs or plugs?
Just thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm starting to make videos again, so we'll see how long I keep that up. Things are finally starting to slow down a little bit around the house as I'm starting to get caught up on some things, so that's nice. So able to put a little bit more time back into the channel, but like I said, we'll see how long that lasts.
All right. Yeah. See how it goes. But you're still doing your chats at night, right? Your nightly, whatever it's called?
Just the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday shows.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hadn't stopped doing the barbecue chat. Saturdays are just too busy for me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you stopping by here anyway when you can. All right. Yeah. Oh, yes, New York. What would you like to say?
Sorry. Almost forgot. It's brought to my attention earlier today that some individuals would like to get an East Coast thing going. So, I figured I'd throw it out there. We're kind of hoping something like 3 hours from the coast or DC, somewhere along that way. Maybe it's something where, people 3 to 4 hours from that middle point can show up. And hopefully maybe even some people can carpool, like Rich White, things like this, if they're interested. Obviously, depending on location or whatnot, I wouldn't have a problem like picking barbecue up, because I'm sure it would be somewhere similar or somebody the other way. But we're trying to make this a thing. So there's no date or nothing yet. We're just throwing it out, hoping to see if people can figure something out. Maybe if so, combined, we can come together and do this without it being a plane ride or a 2 days off from work type thing.
Do something like Travis P. and Defense Dad did?
I don't really think so. I think this is just more of a get together. I mean, I think it would be more of a hangout. Could be arranged. Could be at a restaurant. Who knows? Maybe we all take over a hotel and see who can get kicked out at first. I don't know. But either way, obviously a range would be nice to go shoot at some point. But I think it's more of a hangout thing, just to kind of like meet and greet, bullshit, maybe exchange things. I don't know. I'm sure video would be a thing, but it wasn't a a sponsor thing to my knowledge. So, but of course, if something gets up there and people want to throw something in, by all means. But just something to think about.
It all depends
again, I've
where
been
you have
asked
it at.
Yeah,
we
see,
haven't.
I would suggest Ohio. It's a good central location. It's a free state. Constitutional
that's pretty far
carry.
from me, Kingpin, Rich White. That's
Not
pretty far from
really.
a lot of us.
Not really.
That's more than 3 hours.
Well, if you're so
Yeah.
lazy you only want to drive 3 hours, then yeah,
Well,
I guess it's only going to be, 2
It's
people.
not
show
just
up.
me, and it's the person that brought it up to me as well. I mean, a lot of us got to be back to work the next day and stuff like that. So we're, so it would
So where
have
are
to be
you
more
thinking?
east in Ohio. I don't know. I was gonna throw up a map and start
let's see.
going with locations of people I know.
New
'cause
Jersey's out.
we got a few
Maryland's
in,
out. New York's
but
out.
we got a few people
Pennsylvania's
from
confused.
Maryland that would want to go as well. So, so something within 3 to 4 hours. So again, if had be, it can be a one long ass day for them, but would be a possibility on their day off or something. So, I mean, again, I'm just throwing this out because Ohio is damn near next to the last one they had. Well, not really, but not that far. But
not even.
That's still pretty far for East Coasters that got to be to work
Ohio
the next day.
14 hours away from Thunder on the Prairie.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
and it's
Tennessee?
what? And
too far?
And it's what? It's 6 hours from Harrisburg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a
how
drive.
far is Tennessee from you?
Oh, that's for me. That's 10 hours probably.
Yeah, Tennessee's another good one because it's a free state, right?
Too far though.
It's centrally located, and I consider that East Coast.
Too far. More east. Yeah, this is. So you guys had your thing.
The problem
you guys in the flyovers, you had yours. We're trying to do an East Coast thing. You're welcome to show up.
So basically, you want to go to a state that you can't carry.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know. And what, does everything have to be about guns? Some of us could probably carry. I'm covered in a crap load of states. I'm sure others are too. I mean, and then depending where we're located, maybe it's somebody's property and we throw up some tents and, hang out. And
all right.
You can shoot. I don't know.
This is go to a commie state where the people hosting it want to drive like 5 minutes and everybody else to drive 9 hours or more. Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
No, because I think no matter what, me, like Kingpin, Rich, all them would have to it'd probably be 3-4 hours on their part either way. So I mean, you might be outside the box on this one, but there's still a lot of people. Let's see, Kevin in New York, his teenage son. You got Walter Davis. I mean, Midnight. There's a lot of people that
It sounds like the meeting point is probably going to be somewhere around Harrisburg or so with the timeline you're giving for everybody.
Well, it's not on me. I'm not creating it. I'm just throwing the idea, getting it out there. So, however, it don't matter to me. 3-4 hours, I'm fine with. So then that was the idea presented to me. But 3-4 hours, I really don't have an excuse not to come hang out. 26 hours or 16 hours, well, I can start thinking of a few excuses.
No balls. I think Rick's got the right idea. Tennessee, that's actually better than Ohio.
That's what I was thinking.
It's too long, man. Nobody's going to make that from the east. You can't, that's not a quick turnaround anyway.
There's a lot of good people in Tennessee too.
So really what this unidentified person is asking is for a short drive for everybody to meet at the local fast food restaurant and then go home.
Well, it could be whatever we make it, man. I mean, I'm down with
at the beginning
getting together with a hotel.
You mentioned the hotel. So what's wrong with Tennessee? You'll be staying in a hotel.
Let me tell you something about Thunder on the Prairie.
It's the drive to get there and back. Like, that's not just an inconvenience for me, but that's going to schedule things out for work. That means I might want to stay later that night, things like that. Like, the guy that's got to be back to work Monday, that might not be ideal for him. It's not just about me. That's just it. It's, as a collective group, we got to make it somewhat convenient for everybody on the East Coast.
See, I don't care how long it takes to drive, because whatever Squib's used to.
What do you call in the East Coast? Florida,
apparently not Coast. Tennessee.
Cut it in thirds. I don't know. I mean, we got to stay at least
on the East Coast,
at least 3 to 4 hours from the Maryland area, I would say, because I personally know a handful of people in that area that would probably attend something.
So you want it behind?
Let's all go to Roy Rogers outside of Baltimore.
It doesn't need to be Maryland.
Thunder on the Prairie was announced 9 months in advance. If you can't get your shit together in 9 months, when people want to announce something 3 weeks or 3 days before it happens, and they go, "Why didn't anybody show up?" It's because you didn't tell anybody. 9 months in advance, you could stay at the
the cool kids can make it. They always make it.
Bunkhouse right there on site. And I mean, it's a fully equipped. It's not like just this shack, right, and tents and stuff. It's a legit, and the people that stayed there had a great time. And it's not far from town. It isn't in town, but it isn't far from town. So if you need to go stock up on ammo or want to go out to dinner or whatever it is, it's not really that long of a drive. And the first year, we kind of a trial run. We've already planned next year is going to be 2 days instead of 1. And it's already been announced. It was announced a week after Thunder on the Prairie happened. So you've got 51 weeks to plan to get out there.
And this guy's showcasing. We're not talking about Thunder on the Prairie.
I'm talking about
hell in the East, man.
If you're going to have something like that, man, you got to put out. You got to put out. You can't just be like, "Hey, man, I want everybody to come to my house, but I don't want to say I want everybody to come to my house." Travis and Defense Dad, somebody could say, "Well, those guys only had to drive 30 minutes to get there." They set the whole damn thing up. They set the whole damn thing up, man.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, personally, I think Tennessee should be the place. I really do.
There's nothing that states you can't do one yourself in Tennessee, too. Some of us might make it to that, but all I'm stating, some of us, it's not the first time we've gone to a range and shot and hung out with our buddies. So it's not, to drive 16 hours and lose so much in wage and pay all this money to go
for a paid day off.
Do a pissing contest. I mean, what the hell is the point? It's not my first date, man. I don't understand. But if it's reasonable, that's different.
If if I was going to plan something like that, it's got to be worth my time. Why do
exactly? So us East Coasters feel the same way about driving 2 days across the damn country. So this one would be for us East Coasters. So stop your bitching. Damn.
Hey, if I got to drive to West Virginia, eat at an Applebee's and fucking drive home, it ain't worth my time.
Yep.
But nobody said you're eating it at Applebee's. I mean, it could be McDonald's. I don't know. I mean, we might have a shooting range at the 7-Eleven. Who knows? We haven't built it yet. It's just the idea. It's out there. I've done my job.
Okay. All right.
Welcome to the West Virginia Applebee's get together. I will say this: if it's in Pennsylvania, we have to go to an Eaton Park.
A what?
Why the hell would you want to go to an Eaton Park?
Because it's a staple of Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania.
Those things are. I've been to. I mean, again, I used to be 415 pounds. I was not a person that was picky about food. Eaton Park is disgusting.
All I'm saying is when you travel, it's a good idea to get some culture. And that's something that is not across the country. It's just like the same reason I'm drinking bourbon from Colorado right now. I have a little culture. I'm telling you, it'll make you a more well-rounded person.
All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. I got to feed the cat and myself. So I want everybody done their piece. Appreciate it. You got the word out, New York Outcast, about your East Coast, actually, it should be the Northeast Coast is what you're after. So you don't want the rest of the East Coast with you.
Well, we like everybody, but I think that's the focus is so these groups of people that basically we've all been kind of left out of all your other stuff because we don't have trucks that get 40 miles to the gallon in a week off from work. But
you can buy one. You can get that job.
So I wouldn't want one.
Rob, come on.
No,
well, what you need to do is find somewhere. Don't worry. Hey, Tennessee. Get hold of what you call it? Oh, what's his name up in Maine? The truck driver.
Oh, Single Shot.
Single shot.
Yeah, no, we're not depending on others to come pick us up with a truck and all that.
He can get a lot of people inside his truck.
Yeah, no. This is, get off your ass, do it yourself if you're interested. If not, no big deal. It's not a big deal. And we're not trying to shame you guys out in the West that can't make it. No, we can't make it to everywhere either. But that's the beauty. It doesn't have to be just centralized. This is the event. We could have an event on each side of the coast. And then maybe we can challenge all the other events. We'll get a common target and set of rules, and we'll see which coast is the best coast.
Tennessee. Just don't call it The Gathering. That is a stupid name. That Palmetto State thing, The Gathering. Whatever. That just sounds stupid.
Dude, there's a lot of cool chicks at gatherings.
Well, that's because they're a stupid company.
All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Well, I gotta say goodbye to the chat. So thank you all for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I'll be back next Saturday. So we'll see you then. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Sabrina.
Hasta la vista.